Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Here we are. New week, new set of opportunities, August 19th, 2024. Welcome to the deluxe version of the pre-market prep session, right? That's every Monday. You say, Adam, what's the difference between the deluxe and the normal? Well, in the deluxe, we lay out our expectations and the groundwork and any landmines that might be here in markets for us this week. So economic data dropping, maybe, FOMC minutes or Powell testimony or presidential speeches or anything like that, right? We lay out what to expect out of the week, and then that helps guide our expectations. And your expectations are everything when it comes to trading, right? And in navigating markets. If you expect for the week to be an amazing week full of, action, and then it's not, and we pretty much go sideways, you're probably much more likely, you are much more likely to blow up your account under those circumstances than you are picking the wrong direction. You expecting direction and getting no direction is much more detrimental to your account than you picking the wrong direction, right? So expectations are everything. That's why the Monday session of this live stream is even more important, right? Probably the most important. But you should be here for all of them, right? Because we're here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to get 1% better each and every session. So we're going to go over the week ahead, right? What to expect out of the week ahead, and then also go over, okay, let me see here, and then also go over our Monday specific news, right? So let's dive into it here. Our top news, and this is for the week ahead. The spotlight next week will be on the Federal Reserve's Jackson Hole Symposium. So this is next week. They're talking about this week. From August 22nd to the 24th, your boy's birthday, year 29. Let's do it. Organized by the Kansas Fed, the symposium is one of the longest standing central banking conferences in the world. The event will bring together economists, financial market participants, and U.S. government representatives to discuss long term policy issues of mutual concern. Traders will be paying close attention to the speakers at the event, including Fed Chief Jerome Powell, for any comments on monetary policy easing. Also, on the economic calendar is an update on new home sales and the minutes of the Fed's July Monetary Policy Committee meeting. The second quarter earnings season will start to wind down, but there are still some major names scheduled to report their results, including retailers Target, ticker TGT, and TJX, which is TJ Maxx, cybersecurity firm Palo Alto Networks, PANW, right? A very, very relevant name, one of Nancy Pelosi's biggest holdings, in China's largest search engine provider, Baidu, whose ticker is BIDU. So some notable names here this week. Nothing too crazy, right? We don't have an Apple or anything like that reporting, but still some notable names. In terms of when they report, Monday, we get Palo Alto Networks, right? As well as Estee Lauder reporting today, ticker EL. Then Tuesday, we get Lowe's, ticker LOW, Medtronic, Toll Brothers, XPeng, whose ticker is XBEV, and Coty, COTY. Wednesday, we get TJ Maxx, TJX, Analog Devices, ADI, Target, TGT, Snowflake, and Macy's. Tickers Snow and then M for Macy's, M is in Mark. And then Thursday, I guess we have nobody reporting on Friday. Thursday, Intuit, and then Toronto Dominion Bank, TD Bank, whose ticker is TD. Workday, WDAY, Ross Stores, Peloton Interactive, Baidu, Kava Group, and Viking Holdings. Kava being one of the rare companies to IPO and continue to crush it after the IPO. You guys know how I feel about IPOs. Typically, IPO stands for it's probably overpriced. But Kava only took a momentary dip beneath their IPO price. Technically, then that still holds true where you should never buy a stock at the IPO price because you could always get it for cheaper. Kava debuted at $42 a share and it did drop to $29.05. So technically, it's still undefeated. IPO means it's probably overpriced and you're probably not buying for the best price if you buy the IPO. But they are doing, very well, right? They are doing very well for themselves. So shout out to Kava. And then let's see here. What else we got going on? Any other things? I don't believe so for this week there. So let's go to our economic calendar and check that out. See if we got any data drops, any testimonies, any things like that. So Monday, August 19th, nothing really. U.S. leading economic indicators at 10 a.m. Tuesday, August 20th, Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic's speech. Yeah, we've got a number of different Fed representatives speaking, but none of the ones that matter, aka Powell, and then every once in a while, Kashkari. Um, yeah. Fed Vice Chair for Supervision Michael Barr speaks tomorrow at 2:45 p.m. Waller speaks today at 9:15 a.m. Welcoming remarks. Yeah, there's not a whole lot that's going on, especially in these first few days. Wednesday at 2 p.m. we get the FOMC meeting minutes, right? So from the last interest rates, decision, we get the minutes from their meeting. Um, but from the last meeting, we get like the notes that are debuted. I don't expect that to really cause much volatility. The volatility really comes with Powell, right? When Powell speaks and Powell is not speaking. Thursday, we got some 9:45 a.m. and 10 a.m. Data drops that I don't expect to make things go crazy, but they can, have momentary volatility effects, right? Momentarily volatile effects, I should say, to be grammatically correct. 9:45 a.m. flash U.S. services PMI, 10 a.m. existing home sales. So those are the two things that during market, hours we get to see some volatility because of that. Then Friday, August 23rd, Fed Chair Jerome Powell's speech at Jackson Hole Retreat. So we'll have Powell speaking at Jackson Hole on Friday at 10 a.m. So I'd say that would probably be the biggest thing, is looking for his Jackson Hole remarks. You could do a simple Google search, or really, who uses Google anymore? You could use ChatGPT to kind of see how we've reacted in the past to those speeches. You could even check just last year, right, and see if we've had any reaction. But of course, whenever Powell is speaking, it'll be important for us to listen. Now, I don't think he'll be answering any questions. This is a pre-prepared speech, so he'll only share what he wants to share, but that could still have effect. So I'd say the biggest, most volatile thing on this week's schedule is definitely 10 a.m. on Friday with Powell. Yeah, that'll be the most important. I will probably, since I got to pick, I have a very busy end of August, start to September. So I need one of these days to literally just go run errands. So that will probably end up being tomorrow. If I had to guess, it doesn't look like we have a whole lot that's going on there on the economic calendar as well. So heads up, I'll probably be out and about away from the desk tomorrow for all my people in the trading group. But of course, we always have our guidance outlined there in the group, trading plans, opportunities, et cetera, et cetera. Um, had a great week last week, and we're looking to see if the market can still provide some nice opportunity here this week. And if it doesn't, we'll make sure to remain patient. We bought the dip at the perfect time, right, on the market after that, bloody weekend that we had that we were expecting. Right, we came in and everybody was super thrown off and da 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 da, and then everybody says, "Oh, hey, what am I buying? What am I doing? What am I that da 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 da?" And then people don't buy anything and they don't do anything and they don't execute and they miss another opportunity, right? Because we're back and we're pushing and we're moving. So that's why it's important to be in the right arena, the right environment where hey, this is the time to execute. This is the time to do this. This is the time to do that. We spend our lives in limbo, and it's super, super sad. So I just encourage everybody. You're better off making more decisions and making the wrong decisions than making no decision. And it is like unequivocally like that is the case. Like I never regret, oh, I made this decision and it was the wrong one. Even if I spent hours like learning to do something one way and I figure out there's a better way, that is not wasted time, right? Because I was doing something, I was executing, I was moving, I had courage, right? I was pursuing something. You've got to move with the pursuit and urgency like you only have one life, because that is all that we have. Right. So get it going. Don't let fear rule you. Don't let anxiety rule you, because all it's like your brain is literally, it's not created for you to thrive. Your brain is created for you to survive, right? Every animal has a survival instinct. Deer aren't trying to find fulfillment. What is their brain wired for them to do? Survive. 99% of brains, right, are simply wired for survival. There is no like kind of seeking existential breakthroughs or anything like that for like 99% of animals. It's the same way for us, right? Your brain is wired for you to survive, right? Not to thrive. If you want to thrive, you're going to have to naturally go against what might, seem to you to be innate inclinations, right? Yeah, oh, this makes me feel uncomfortable. I don't know. It's not supposed to be comfortable, right? It's never comfortable. It's not, because you weren't wired. Your brain's not naturally wired to thrive. It's to survive. So you've got to actively rewire it. You will not just wake up one day and be fine with taking risks, right? Or pursuing something you haven't pursued before. You won't wake up and you don't magically do it at 30, at 40, at 50, at 60, right? You start honing that now by stepping out of the box, doing what you need to do, getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. And then you can really start feeling like, wow, I'm pushing the envelope. I really feel like I'm challenging myself. I'm doing something. I wake up and I know that I'm getting after it. That's a completely different life than waking up being like, oh man, Monday, just got to get to Friday. I don't want to live my whole life just dreading every day of the week. Like I want to be excited for Monday. I was excited for this Monday. I'm going to be excited for the next one, right? Because I'm here with you guys in this community. So put yourself around people that are thriving and pushing to get better, right? That's the way to do it. Now, top news, monkeypox watch. We back on it. More cases of mpox, formerly known as monkeypox. Did they change the name? Is monkeypox not politically correct anymore? Are surfacing across the globe with the virus spreading to Sweden, Pakistan, and the Philippines. It was enough for the World Health Organization to declare a global public health emergency last week, which can accelerate vaccine access and distribution. Quote, it's clear that a coordinated international response is needed. World Health, Organization Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus declared, adding that it would help stop these outbreaks and save lives. What is it? Mpox is a virus that can be fatal, causing fever, aches, and pus-filled lesions. Yeah. The virus has been sequenced into two types. Oh, biology talk. Love that. The virus has been sequenced into two types, including the severe clade 1 group, formerly known as the Congo Basin strain, as well as the clade 2 variant, previously known as the West African strain. The latter was behind an outbreak that resulted in around 100,000 cases worldwide in 2022. But clade 1 has now been spreading internationally following an outbreak in the Democratic Republic of the Congo that led to more than 1,100 deaths since January. Obviously, prayers and sentiments to all the family that were affected by this. That's super sad, and yeah, it's crazy stuff. Compared to the 2022 wave that largely spread among men who have sex with men. Sorry if that was a little heavy for 9 a.m. just talking about intercourse regardless of who it's with. I don't know why they phrased it like that. A new variant of the Congo Basin strain called Clade 1B now appears to be spreading more easily through routine close contact. While it's usually mild, it can kill vulnerable people like the immunocompromised and children. Some nations like China have put in place surveillance measures at ports of entry, screening people from areas with confirmed mpox cases and sanitizing goods entering the country. But others believe the impact of the virus will be low if certain precautions are taken. Market movement, Danish Bitcoin, Bavarian Nordic has been a biotech. I read biotech as Bitcoin. I know all my, crypto stands out there throwing up the fist in affirmation. Danish biotech Bavarian Nordic has been a big beneficiary since the announcement by the WHO, with its shares soaring in recent sessions amid plans to ramp up mpox vaccine production. Emergent Biosolutions, ticker EBS, which has an approved jab and treatment for related disease smallpox, is also up 7% in early trading on Monday, along with test maker Co-Diagnostics, ticker CODX. Some mpox players have even gone to the moon for now, such as Tonix Pharmaceuticals, which is TNXP, Virix Biolabs, ticker VRAX, and GeoVax, ticker GOVX, which are each up over 50% pre-market, as well as Applied DNA Sciences skyrocketing 186%. You're like, Adam, which one of these should I get in on? None of them, right? I don't ever really plan on kind of like chasing after things that are up 186%. That's not my style, right? I want to find the gold before the crowds are there. We like to keep to ourselves, right? In the stock options made easy community. We like to be in early and get out, right? Let me be in before everybody, right? We've got our system. We're very like, kind of organized in the way we go about things. We want to be in and we want to be out. We want to be professional about it. We're not oftentimes going to be the ones scrambling to catch on to something, right? That's just not our style. When you take the time to educate yourself and be ready in advance, you can afford to do that. So I'm not going to be out here chasing all these random biotechs because they can shoot up and then shoot back down, and there's no rhyme or reason. So to anybody who is, because there are people who just straight up trade biotechs in news and they do great for themselves, and that's awesome, right? It's a niche where, again, if you have a system and you have a means of closely monitoring news, likely using some type of automation type setup where you get pinged based off of certain circumstances, right? I could think of a few, automations and workflows you could rig up for that. where you're able to position yourself before this news comes out. I'm sure plenty of people do well doing that. That's not my space. It's not what I want to focus in. But the space as a whole does interest me. You guys know me, I'm a big science guy, right? I kind of figured out I did not want to do surgery. Being pre-med in college, I was like, I'm not really sure if the whole slicing people open thing is cool with me. But I still love, science. And one of my ultimate goals at some point is to have a lab, like a research lab, because I realize that what I really love is discovery. So I'd love to get back into science in some capacity at some point. I've only got one life, so I don't know when that'll happen or in what capacity, but looking forward to making, that leap again at some point. Got no idea what it holds. But that's why you also want to get in here and learn while you can now, right? I won't be out here talking markets forever, right? Nothing gold can stay, pony boy. So you got to get it while you can. Because Papa's looking to be somewhere near the world of science at some point, in his life, and see where those adventures take me. I'd like to do a lot of things. I love cooking. At some point, I'd love to go to like culinary school, even if I'm like that 60-year-old retired guy who's in culinary school and there's like a bunch of young whippersnappers and they're like, everybody's like, or I'm like 70. And they're like, Grandpa, you're retired. What are you doing? Like, I love to cook and I'd love to learn like even more fine dining things. So yeah, I'll be that guy that's always trying new things and soaking up this life. And I believe everything has a stage, right? And you don't stay anywhere forever. So, things change and I'm happy to change with them. But yeah, I've got a lot of interests and I've got tons of things to check out here. Global news data blackout. Chinese stock exchanges have stopped releasing real-time data on foreign fund flows. That'll deprive investors of a key sentiment gauge at a time when international traders have been net sellers of Chinese stocks for months. Foreign investors have been exiting China's 8.3 trillion dollar stock market in droves, with the year-to-date tally reportedly reaching negatives as of Friday. The dialing back of transparency has further dented foreign investors' confidence in China, which already stopped disclosing intraday foreign flows data and real-time estimates of mutual funds products net value. So this is just China pretty much crashing and burning and saying we don't want people to know that we're crashing and burning, so we're just not going to allow you to have access to our information, right? Which is just classic China there. Um, Let's see what else we got going on. I mean, you guys know my feelings about China and Chinese stocks. I don't really play with them or mess with them too often. There's a few that I like and they're doing well for themselves, but those are the ones, right? Those are the ones, and that's pretty much it. I'm not a big Chinese stocks guy because China's just going through a lot right now, and they can make sweeping reform changes overnight that absolutely destroy, entire sectors. So, not a big fan of that, but there is one that I'll be watching here based off of the monthly close here this month, right? It's something that I mentioned before. So maybe I'll talk about that here this morning as well. For the trading group, of course. Automotive news, union criticism. Get used to hearing the term price gouging, which is being tossed around the campaign trail and in the business world. Quote, for years, Stellantis, ticker STLA, has sold fewer cars but made more in profits. What does that tell you? They're price gouging. United Auto Workers President Sean Fain announced in a new video, accusing CEO Carlos Tavares of forgoing back on commitments of the company made in its last labor pact. Tavares recently pointed to issues with Stellantis' U.S. operations and has been cutting jobs at U.S. plants to rein in costs. Yeah, that doesn't really affect us as traders, so I'll keep it pushing. You guys already know I've talked, a lot about this train of unionization, this trend, and this, kind of ongoing train of unionization, and it's not going to stop, right? We called it, 2 years ago when it started. We talked about the job loss before that kicked off and really ramped up and accelerated, and both of those things are just feeding into it, right? You've got all these jobs that are being cut. So the people that are still there want to demand more. Plus, you have AI coming down the pipeline, which is disrupting what the future looks like and the longevity of you remaining in a certain career. So people are going even harder after, unionization and really trying to make sure that they'll be okay despite all the different developments and trends that are happening. So it's only getting worse, right? It's just the dragon eating its tail, and every side is adding fuel to the fire. Now, can you control any of that? No. What does that mean for you? It means you got to make sure that you know how to put your money to work for your markets. You know how to leverage AI. Those are the two things. right? You have got to be able to do those two things. If you do not, right, then you are in trouble. Straight up. There is no like, oh, in the future, my job. No, this is at every single level, right? This is from your big techs all the way down. I'm reading news here each and every morning where at least one out of every 3 mornings, there's one or more huge household name companies that are laying off a significant portion of the workforce. I'm not saying that to scare you because you don't need to be scared if you prepare, right? Someone says, oh, there's going to be, a wildfire that comes to this area. Cool, I'm going to prepare, right? I'll be out of here, or I'll fireproof my place, or I'll do this, or I'll do that. Life is not about a lack of adversity. That's literally what life is. Life is you traversing one adversity after the next. None of it is easy, and it's not supposed to be easy. That's the privilege of life. A lot of the people I know that had life on easy are freaking miserable, right? You're like, oh, I wish I was born wealthy. I wish I was born rich. Listen, my parents were amazing in that they allowed me to go to school with, the top of the top percentage wise in terms of, the sons and daughters of CEOs of this company and people that have been in the White House and this, that, and the third. They're no happier being born wealthy. No, if anything, more miserable, right? You don't get any happiness from having everything handed to you. And we think that's what we want, but it's not what we want, right? What you want is to be faced with adversity and win, so you feel good about yourself, right? That's what you want. So once you realize what you actually want and not what you think you want in your head, right? You start embracing a lot more, recognizing it's a privilege for me to go through and do this, right? So the same thing, whether it's, unionization and the labor market's changing and all that, cool. You were built for it. Otherwise, you wouldn't have been sent here. You were sent here with everything you needed to win. So win, right? Do what you need to do to win. And that's all we're doing here each and every day, getting 1% better within this community. Economic news that was quick, just days after heightening its recession gauge to 25 from 15%, Goldman Sachs has reduced its view of the probability of a U.S. recession next year. You see how they did that, by the way? You see how the recession gauge skyrockets and da da da. It does that after the drop. After the drop, the recession gauge skyrockets. And then what happens? Then they broadcast it for a week so that all of us schmucks sell stuff and all of the educated money buys stuff. And then what do they do next week? Oh, just kidding, recession's off. And you're like, I just sold all of my stock, and the S&P was having some of its best days in years, and I wasn't in on it. Yeah, it's because you're listening to people that are pumping a narrative to you instead of going out and getting good agnostic information and knowing how to read the charts for yourself. It's so key. Whatever they're telling you up there on like CNBC, whatever, like they are telling what gets headlines. Fear gets headlines. All of that stuff gets headlines. And they are just using you as exit liquidity. That's all this big money does. Hey, tell them that we're about to have a recession. So all these, sheep sell their stock and then we buy it super cheap. And then what do? They run it up. Oh, just kidding, no recession. See it steal in the next dip, right? When we convince you to sell again. Um, a slew of favorable macro data in recent days prompted the reversal, but it raises some doubts over generic forecasts when things are looking so fluid. Quote, now we have moved it back down to 20% because the data released since August 2nd, including retail sales and jobless claims, shows no signs of recession. The team wrote, adding that they would probably cut recession probability back to 15% if the jobs report due on September 6th looks reasonably good. In terms of today's markets, mixed bag across the board. In Japan, down 1.8%, Hong Kong up 0.8, China up 0.5, India flat, London flat, Paris up 0.3, Frankfurt up 0.1. Why are they doing this? The Dow up 0.04. Is this for real? Why are we reporting on this? That's flat. S&P up 0.01. That's flat. NASDAQ down 0.1. That's like barely reaching the threshold to not being flat. Crude down 1.1%. Gold down 0.1%. Bitcoin down 3%. Back maybe 60K at 50,000, 58,100. What else is happening? Boeing, Lockheed Martin, tickers BA and LMT, in talks to sell rocket launch JV. Rivian, ticker RIVN, pauses Amazon delivery van production. Powell tells banks to work with Fed on increased capital proposal. Delays impact 40% of Biden administration's biggest climate projects. Work stoppage at Canada's biggest railroad may affect U.S. trade. Elon Musk's X closing Brazil operations due to censorship orders. FDA is said to clear updated COVID shots as early as next week. Costco, ticker Cost, working in Virginia vote to join Teamsters contract, and then Evercore ISI screens banks to, Evercore ISI screens banks likely to fare better when Fed cuts rates. So that'll be interesting to look into. That'll wrap us up here for August 19th, 2024. It is the eighth month of the year. There are only 12 months in the year, right? But you still got less than a quarter, but a good quarter that you can, get. You can make up for 3 quarters of you doing nothing with 1 quarter of you absolutely crushing it. You don't have to do things like pull your whole lineage out of poverty in a week in order to feel like, wow, I did something great this week. Go out, learn some new things, invest in yourself, right? Take a dive, take a leap, invest in yourself monetarily, but also with time, right? Give yourself the consideration to be better instead of just making up excuses every time you think, oh, I'm going to try this. Actually, oh, well, you know what? I don't really have the time for it. Oh, this is too expensive for me. Oh, I'm too dumb for this. Oh, I don't have the equipment that I need for this. Have you even tried yet? Before you write it off? Have you even talked to anyone yet before you write it off? Have you talked to someone who does it? Right? Have you talked like what have you even pursued it or are they not even making out of your skull? Right? You're shooting things down before they even have the chance to have breath, have life, right? Don't do that. Don't do that. Life will be a lot more fun and a lot more fulfilling. But anyways, we got trading opportunities to dive into, and I'm excited for that. Very excited for that. Adam away from desk on Tuesday. That's news. If you're a part of me, you know what you mean. Yeah. Oh yeah. The streets is right. For some reason, thank you for bringing that up. For some reason, Marcus love acting up whenever I'm gone. So just maybe expect that on Tuesday. There is no specific like news or anything indicating that. It's just markets like acting up whenever I'm away. And I try not to mention it because I don't want to speak it into existence. But let's be frank, like it tends to really happen a lot. Right. So thank you to Trees for that amazing reminder. And yeah, shout out to all you guys. Let's continue to execute this week. Work beyond fear, right? Opportunity needs some motion, so you have to be in motion in order to get opportunity. You won't get it standing still. Never in the Bible or anywhere else, right? Did you see? Oh, the wise men were instructed to go here, and they got blessed before they left. No, right? Like everywhere, regardless of what text you look in, where you adhere to, anywhere, right? You had to move to get blessed every single place, right? He said, pick up your bed and walk. You had to pick up your bed and walk before you got blessed. Bathe in this crusty river, right? You had to do stuff. A lot of it was not fun. A lot of it you felt like you could not do, but you got blessed when you did it. So make sure that you're moving, right? Because that's when your blessing comes. So much love to everybody. Let's crush it today as well as this week. I'll see y'all back here tomorrow morning for our next pre-market prep session. Have a good one.